Hello, and welcome back to Exponential Potential, where we're continuing our deep dive into abundance this month. Today's episode, we're uncovering the often overlooked power of language in terms of accessing wealth, prosperity, and success. If you haven't had a chance to catch the series, we've covered all sorts from mindset and activation, some of the common blocks, and kind of the different types of assets that you're probably ignoring, but they do make a difference to the bottom line. Today, I'm so excited. This is an interview I've been waiting to do for so long. But I'm joined by the absolutely brilliant Dr. Laura Camacho. Hey.
Hello.
And Laura is an executive communication strategist. She specializes in executive presence for high potential leaders. And you've worked your magic in everything from luxury brand messaging to neuroscience driven communication strategies. And your insights, Laura's insights, guys, take notes. She's going to completely transform how you think about using your words, using your communication as a way of bringing in the moolah, of creating abundance. And of course, we're both here in really bright lipstick. It's not just about the lipstick. There is so much more.
But lipstick matters. Lipstick matters.
So audience, if you've ever wondered how the right question at the right time can shift your mindset and shift people around you, and how that can really impact your bank account, today we're going to uncover that. We're going to look at different styles of strategic communication, intentional communication, and asking abundance-inducing questions, how those can unlock doors. I know, I'm definitely going to be writing my own notes on that one. So stick with us to the end, because we're diving into real actionable tips, like always, so that you can use these very special executive level communication strategies to advance your career, but also attract prosperity. Laura, we have been saying it's about time we step into it. It's about time we step into our wealth and step up to the table and you go, you know what? Yeah, here I am. Give you money and we'll make the world a better place.
Yes. As we say in the South of the United States, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and for you Brits, the state that I am, when it was under King George, was known as the obstinate daughter because we were a bunch of hotheads. This is where the Revolutionary War started and the Civil War. So, we're definitely kind of spicy over here. And what we would say is amen.
So come on, let's dive straight in. Because you're a communication expert for sure. What's the connection between abundance and financial wealth and the way that we communicate?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, Claire. And thank you for inviting me to be here. I am super excited. I love talking about this because in my day-to-day work, it's more about, affecting perceptions in the business context. But the thing at the root of all of this is that our words shape not only how other people see us and respond to us, but how we see ourselves and how we respond to ourselves. And as a, card carrying introverts, I was the nerdy girl with braces who had good grades, didn't speak up too much, got through, college and masters and did very well academically. But in the working world, I learned it was so much more important, at least as important, it depends on your job, how you talk about yourself and your work versus the results. The results that you're getting are not enough. And you'll see it, with abundance, you're putting in the time, you're doing the work, you're saving your money, I'm guessing, doing a lot of the right things, but your communication reflects your mindset so much.
Yeah. And I think it's something that's really key. I'm just thinking about the range of different roles that women take on in the workplace, and how many times are our boundaries like really challenged. So how many
Yes.
times do people delegate to us to make the tea or take the notes in a meeting? It's just
Yes.
like, oh, come on. Or how many times do we know that we put in more work, but it's our co-worker who gets the
The
money?
credit. Yes,
I know,
I
all the
know.
training, all the
Yes.
attention. It's just
Yes.
like,
Yes. But
no.
I know that's like the whole foundation for my career is exactly what you're talking about. And although there are some men who also get overlooked because they don't speak up enough or they don't speak up in the right way. But truly, your words matter so much, and not only the words, but how you say them. And with abundance, it's easy to get discouraged. Yeah, I think that because if it were so easy, we'd all be gazillionaires and we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? It's
Right.
part of our challenge in life. Life is not easy, and it's not easy to have a good life. And you can get frustrated. You save your money and inflation eats it away. Or you buy this stock, it's going great, and then it's not. Or you invest in this crypto and it's doing great, and then it's not. And if you own your own business like I do, there's just all kinds of chaos all the time. So it's really the abundance comes as a result of the tenacity and the persistence and the refusal to give up. And so we kind of have to use our language to keep us
Mm.
motivated and not discouraged, but not, my tendency years ago was I would, bounce back, but it's so bitter and angry. And so, and justifiably, I mean, we all have things that can be justifiably angry and bitter about. But guess what? That does not attract opportunities. So,
Yeah, and also it's not just about showing up full force either, because this is one of the other ways, that kind of you can get left on the shelf if you're seen as the bossy or the gobby. I don't know if that's a US word, but a kind of a gobby is like a in your face
oh
type
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah, too
very
abrasive,
assertive.
and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
so for women, it's very easy to be typecast in that
yes.
way, but communication is about what you put out and as much about the room and how it lands and how it
Right.
received and so on. So yeah,
So
really.
because it is tricky, yes. I mean, I have talked to people who get in trouble for being too blunt, being too nice, not saying too enough, saying too much. It's like seriously, like, but there's just the differences are very small. We're talking to people who are, you know, above average in intelligence and desire and skill set, probably attractiveness too, I would guess. But so the differences are very small. But one of the things I've learned is that asking questions instead of saying things is like a game changer. It just opens up the world to possibilities, to receiving, to people perceiving you differently by the questions
Yeah,
you ask. And it saves you from a lot of traps by saying the wrong thing or being so focused on what you're going to say that it comes out as harsh or disorganized or all the traps. and,
yeah,
and learning how to ask good questions. And so that's not only uh, affecting other people's perceptions of you and your receptivity and your magnetism, but how you see yourself and how you see, if you're so focused on getting this message perfectly correct and proper, you're not open to other
yeah.
possibilities. Whereas if you ask the question, then you are by definition opening up yourself to more options.
More of an exchange. So I mean, in the past, you've talked about, and then you've dangled this one, an abundance-inducing
Oh
question.
yes, yes,
Is
yes,
that
yes. Okay.
what would that look like? Or
I'm so
sound
glad you
like?
asked that. Yes, abundance inducing questions. This is the fundamental starter of that question. And I actually learned it from the people at Eat Big Fish, which is a British branding firm, which I absolutely adore them. How can we? How can we? How can we get this new client? How can we expand our portfolio? How can we innovate? How can we have a successful party? And because we're usually like, well, can we or can't we? I don't know. I don't know if I can or not. And we get, all this muddling into, well, I don't know. Can I get that promotion? Can I get this new job? Can I get this new client? Well, how can I? How can I? And that's this one word that you're adding. Just like when you tell yourself, oh, well, I haven't made, my trillions of dollars, but I haven't made them yet, right? That's what I say, and that's why I emphasize, folks, that we think that, oh, we need this huge major transformation in the way we speak to, reach the Richard Branson level, but it's really not one thing, but a myriad of little changes, and asking questions. How can we? I think that is the abundance inducing question, because it keeps you from being discouraged. It opens up your creativity, because your brain, this is the neuroscience, your brain will answer any question that you ask it. So if I ask myself, Laura, why haven't you reached this goal yet? And then my brain will be like, well, you're kind of lazy, and you're not too bright, and you're too old, and you didn't go to Harvard. I mean, it'll come up with, just like the chat GPT, all kinds of answers, right? But if I say, how can I reach this goal? Then it's like, well, we could try this, and we could try this other thing. And what about talking to so-and-so? You just open yourself up to possibilities. What do you think?
The energy just feels completely different, because can I is like can I? Oh, can I please? Can I?
Or should I? Like, oh, should I even apply? Like, people will say, Laura, should I even apply? I'm like, hello. Of course why are you asking me this? Apply. But we don't want the rejection. We don't want to do it wrong. We don't want people to think badly of us. And all of those are just waste of time, waste of energy. And, and it just doesn't move you forward. You just, how can I apply for this job, even though I don't have every single requirement that they're asking for? Well, that list of things they want is their dream list. Like, if the magical fairy came in and applied for the job, yes, that person would have all the qualities, but nobody else's.
No, but also, kind of, I want to stick a pin in this bit, but when you ask how can I, automatically you'd mentioned creativity, but for me, pragmatism. I'm not completely owning all of the different options. All of the options are being spelt out now. All of a sudden, I'm feeling like I've got choice. I'm feeling like I've got control. Ultimately, I can then decide, it's just not worth me putting all that effort in at the end of the day.
Right.
But at least I've explored it rather than completely rejected it.
Right. But Claire, you might say, let's say that you have a new project. Well, project X, how can I? And you're thinking, well, I could, but it's really going to be like so much time and effort, because everything ends up being more time, effort, and money, right? I mean, almost anything we do ends up being more, but also pays off more. But we could say, well, I can if I reduce the scope, or I can when I just start with this little small part of it, or I only I'm going to divide the project into 5 pieces. It doesn't even have to be a binary yes or no. In fact, I find most significant decisions are not binary. Sometimes they are. If you're going to get married, you should, that's a yes or no question. Giving birth, that's yes or no. But a lot of projects are, we can, if we do it, more slowly, or get more help, or, sometimes find the part that's the most juicy and go with that, or the easiest.
Oh, come on then. Have you got any others like that? That's just brilliant.
Oh. Well, the how can we? It's just the it's the foundation for abundance, because it literally opens up all kinds of possibilities, and it uh just gets your brain working differently, and that's what we need. Because if we had the brain of another British entrepreneur that I just adore is Paul Smith of the clothing line, and you look at what his life and how he did it, such a quirky person, and he did things that were not normal for a British retailer. I don't know if you know him or know his story, but I mean, he did stuff that was crazy just by asking, well, how can I combine my love of bicycles and make money, selling clothes?
Yeah, it automatically shifts you to that sense of curiosity and play, as well. And I think that's a great example.
Now,
Um,
another
mm,
question, just to give you another, it's not really a question, but what if? Like, what if we change this aspect? We got, what if we did something a little bit differently? What if we did it slowly? What if we did it faster? What if we invited somebody else?
yeah.
There's a great book on this. I'm pulling it out of my bookshelf just for the readers. It's also a British book. So you guys, I mean, because you think about it, the island of the UK, or the islands, you guys have punched over your weight for a long time as a country. So I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, neither is the US, but you guys have done a lot. So it's called A Beautiful Constraint, and it's by Adam Morgan and Mark Barden.
Oh, okay. We're going to have a
Yeah,
link in that. But
yes, A
what's so
Beautiful Constraint. And it just talks about how that constraints that we all have. And thank God for them, because if you were just, let me tell you, my husband is a violinist, and he is, extremely talented, works with the elites. And he once worked with his family, and the parents were both models in college and out of college. So they were tall, extremely attractive.
Yep.
Both came from money. The guy came from a very old money in the US. Of course, I know we're only since 1776, but still, in the
Yeah.
hierarchy thing, old money is supposed to be better than new money. To me, if it's green, it's good. And they had met at Harvard University, which is the most prestigious university. And not only did they meet there, like they were like the 8th generation to attend that university. So they had literally everything: a beautiful family, beautiful kids, tall, good looking, college educated, and they were not happy. So, you don't want to make the money, bust your butt, and be like psycho, or be depressed, anxiety. It is not the bank account balance that makes you abundant. It is your approach to what you have.
Yeah. Your relationships, we were talking just last week around how this concept of financial freedom is actually brilliant, because it gives you space to work less than full-time hours and spend
Yes.
time with the kids. And I know when I was in an executive world, working full-time hours for me was 60 plus plus plus,
Oh
or being
yeah. Oh
away.
yeah. Oh
And so it
yeah.
doesn't matter what you're earning, if you're missing those years, you're poor in soul in a way. That sounds really bad,
Yeah.
but
And
it's not, there's
no,
so
no, but
many
it's
factors.
true. And you get
Yeah.
home and you're exhausted, and you've got the traffic, and it takes
Oh,
forever, and you play. Yeah, there's so true. I remember when, to ask before COVID in my business, I was helping coaching people to ask for the ability to work from home maybe one day a month or one day a week, because it was just such a, everybody knows that you get more done, but there's, but everybody, the people that want to control you don't like that.
Yeah. But circling back to the what if question,
Yes.
that what if is brilliant, particularly in tense situations or in conflict, because
Yes.
you're kind of able to get across your needs without it being an all or nothing, completely at stakes game. I mean,
Exactly.
whether
Exactly.
that's with your boss, whether it's with your partner, it's like, what if you're kind of declaring, I want this to change. I want us to get here. I'm ambitious for us. What
Right. Well,
if?
that's negotiation, and that's what we need to be doing. And what we our tendency is to yes or no. But everything is binary. I either get it or I didn't. Well, maybe I volunteer for a project that's going to get me relationships and visibility that is going to help me make the next step. Or
Yeah,
there's just it's just opening up to the middle, like other options. It's
yeah.
not just A or B. There's so many options that we overlook because we don't
Oh,
ask. How can we? What if?
I know, and for sure, kind of with a lot of the leadership work that I do, there are so many different tiers of leadership, and the higher you go in leadership, the more space, the less control you actually have, whether you
Yeah,
admit it or not. But the less
right.
control you need, you just need to create space, create
A
space for people's
vision.
imagination, teamwork,
Yes,
other people's ideas, kind of
yes,
there's so much more. You just don't have to be so binary and task
right,
oriented. So there's a certain level of seniority and maturity in consciously asking the questions and
right.
having it land in that way. That's brilliant.
Yes, and in the corporate environment, one of the most useful, helpful questions you can ask to, if especially if you're junior, because the junior people tend to be intimidating and they're thinking that Claire knows everything. And the reality is she really doesn't because she's too busy. But
Yes.
she's got this top role, so she must know everything. But it's simply to ask, I think we should do X, Y, and Z based on, A, B, and C. Claire, what do you think? And
Yeah.
just imagine, anybody asking you that, they're going to get mentoring from you. They're going to get your feedback. They're going to get your help. And some feedback is what we helps all of us, right? Why are you listening to this podcast? Because you want feedback on and ideas on what you can do differently to reach your goals, right? And yet we're afraid of being crushed by you know people thinking that we're stupid or incompetent. And that's why in my work a lot of people don't ask the simple, what do you think, which is such a great question to get feedback on your idea, right? On your
I'm just, God, where were you 20 years ago? Just
I
like,
know. I am the coach I needed myself. I wish I had known all that myself, but
because there's just so many situations like meetings, like, lots of
yes,
tense meetings. And you go into it with so much kind of gusto, almost ready for a difficult time because you're conscious about what you need to get across. You're super conscious about how people will respond to that. But I'm guessing that if being in more of a questioning place and asking the right questions takes the pressure off you as a person and puts it to the room. I mean, is that a fair assumption?
yes, that's exactly, and it takes the pressure off of you to deliver the perfect solution or the perfect, you know, um, project that Claire is going to love every aspect of it, which is probably, any senior leader, a lot of people, and we feel like if we just say, oh yeah, that's great, we're not really adding value, right? Because we're not giving some ideas to take a good idea and make it better. But
Yeah.
I know we're getting to the end, Claire, and I want to mention one thing I think is so important with abundance in questions, and that's managing the energy. And in my research, it really annoys me that this is true, but it is true that abundance flows to positive people, right? I want to be like, I'm more concerned with being accurate as a person, but being positive, even if you're a little bit delusional, attracts good things, opportunities, and connections with people. So I want everybody listening to know that while I totally advocate for working with your in constraints, for facing reality, for preparing for the worst case analysis, worst case scenario,
Yeah.
you've got to use questions that will keep your own mind away from catastrophizing, away from despair, away from, just that dark space that we can, we're all going to spend some time there, but the less time, the better.
Yeah. That's really true, both in that conversation that you have with the other person and in the conversation that you're having with yourself. I mean, I've managed teams through change and restructures. And one of the things I've tried to do so quickly is move people through and just like, look, guys, you're going to have to apply for your jobs perhaps, or you're going to have to apply for jobs elsewhere. Nobody is going to give you a job if you're miserable. And if you turn up and go, it's their fault. Nobody.
Right. Nobody.
And also, you're going to feel really pants for ages.
Yes, exactly. So asking, like in one question, I want to give you another question in a meeting, in a networking, in a social occasion, to raise the energy of the room or of the conversation that you're in, is to ask, so Claire, what are you excited about these days? Automatically I'm forcing you to think about what is something really positive. And by you explaining that back to me, I automatically, if say I was not feeling very good, it's possible. Good feelings, good energy is contagious. So, asking people, so what are you excited about these days? You don't even have to know their last name to ask them that.
No. So Laura, what are you excited about today?
Well, I'm excited to be here on this interview. That is definitely something. And where I live, the weather, we've had this amazingly beautiful, and our summers tend to be like saunas, on the coast, subtropical climate. So it's not, I get to wear a sweater. This is the first time I've worn a sweater since probably April. So that's exciting. And, I don't know. I get to talk to smart people in my day-to-day work, and I feel very blessed.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got to say, I can understand why you're speaking to smart people, and because I'm reflecting, some of the interventions that you've suggested are simple, but the beauty of simple is that it goes way beyond easy. It's just like there's some elegance, there's the science behind it, there's the thought behind it, and understanding. Yeah.
That's why a lot of what I say, people will say, "Oh, my wife and my mom has said that." Well, it's true, but we can't. And I'm the first one. Like, I don't want to believe that being, super positive is going to make you more successful, but the science says it's true. So.
So stay curious, ask questions, and be positive.
Look for the way to keep the energy high. Look for the opportunity. And, the constraints are the tax we pay on having a good life. It's just, could be worse. It could always be worse.
Well, and also, very often we get pulled into conversations where we're an advocate or we're a witness to somebody else's conversation. And you can see it in the debrief where people go, "Oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you hear?"
Yes.
And actually, we can be a mirror to that positive and almost say, "Don't forget, here was something that's quite actionable."
Right, exactly. And, well, it's over. So now we can move forward. We always just want to be, life just marches on. So we want, time spent, pondering how unfair something, or how, and all the things. There's all kinds of bad things, but there's also good things in life. And we want to focus on, making our world as abundant and prosperous and welcoming as we can.
And talking of which, I mean, you've made a very kind offer to our listeners, which is just like, yay, how can we find out a little bit more about what you're doing and just dive in that little bit deeper?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's a link to my website. Of course, you can read a little bit more about me. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to connect with people on LinkedIn, and I'll put a link. I have an executive presence mastery program. It's a coaching. It's an intensive coaching if you work in corporate and would want to really up level. Get ready for senior. Get ready to be Claire. How about that? I will help you become Claire Oatway. That's what I do. I'll put a link that people can set up time and we can chat.
Ah, fabulous, fabulous. And I'll tell you what, if anybody writes to you and says the magic words, what are you excited about today, back to you, I will give them an hour of my time.
Whoa. Talk about opportunities, people.
I don't do ironing in that hour, by the way.
Yeah, talk to her remotely.
Boundaries, yeah.
Yeah. No cooking, no cleaning, no. But to have an hour of Claire's brain on your career or your situation, that has amazing value.
A double whammy, as well as kind of getting to link into you. So there's your challenge, there's your double dare. But Laura, oh my goodness me, thank you.
My pleasure.
I knew when we met that we would have a great conversation. Well, of course, if you have a conversation with a communication specialist, you are going to have a good conversation. That's almost guaranteed.
It would be. Yeah, I don't think. She's a communication strategist, but what a bore to talk to. That would be funny.
It actually
Can't
is,
stand talking to her, but
it's definitely spicy, which is really good fun. And you've just been so generous in terms of, why don't you try this? Hey, why don't you try this?
exactly.
It's going to be so good.
Well, the easy thing is to suggest and share the goodies. The hard thing is to actually, do it. So I hope everybody will take one or two of these gems and just practice. And I'll leave it on 1% better. That's a theme. I keep coming back to that. If you go for 1% better, I think in a year your increase is 37%. I mean, that's a good increase no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're starting to think, how can I keep improving? Well, maybe what if you liked this episode and shared it and then listened again and took notes and just tried it out?
Exactly. You would definitely be better off. I promise. We promise.
So Dr. Laura, thank you. It's been so much fun to have you here, and to wrap up the final of the series around abundance. There have been so many practical strategies over this month, and you've just kept them coming. So from all of the listeners, cheers.
Oh, cheers. Cheers to you all.